Hey, it's Keith at Schneider Farms, and today for our Tuesday tip, we're going to talk about hydrangeas. Right here in front of me, I have a hydrangea maculata, and this is Raspberry Crush. It's a newer one from the Endless Summer series. Maculatas are the ones that are typically blue and pink, the ones everybody wants, and they're a little bit tricky to grow though sometimes. They love sun in the mornings and then some shade in the afternoon. So this one gets sun all morning until about 2, and then it goes in the shade. So they've done very well here. What I want to talk about though is how to prune them. The old hydrangeas of this type, if you pruned them like in the fall or spring, you would be cutting off most of the flowers. And this type of hydrangea typically dies back pretty hard in the winter. So the winters would effectively prune all of the flowers off. These new varieties though will bloom on new wood as well as the old wood. So you can have flowers on these every year. So what I want to talk about today is just maybe a little summer maintenance on them. Right now, to me, the flowers all look pretty nice. There's some that are starting to fade and don't look as fresh as some of the other ones. But hydrangeas, that's just part of them, I think. Flowers hold for so long and still look good. But what I'm going to do is there's some dead sticks in here. Just going to cut those out real low. Just get rid of some of those. And as these flowers fade, like if this one starts looking bad, I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice it. And it's a little bit taller anyway, so I'm going to cut it back. And whenever you make a cut on anything, I want to show you, you want to cut it just above a node. A node is where a branch comes out of. So a little bit above that. If you cut it, say if I cut it up here, we would have a big dead stick that would show. So we're going to get rid of it there, and maybe I might get rid of this one since it's just laying out there. The one big thing on these is I don't do much of any pruning on them all year until spring. As I said, the winter causes a lot of dieback on these. So what I want to do is wait for them to start growing in the spring and then just cut all of the dead off and get rid of that, and then let them take care of themselves. They'll grow and they'll flower just like this throughout the summer. So our next stop, we're going to go see a hydrangea quercifolia, an oak leaf hydrangea, and do a little summer pruning. All right, well here we are at our oak leaf hydrangea, and what I want to do with these today is the flowers, they've already bloomed. The flowers are looking, they don't really show up much, so I'm going to get rid of them. And what I'm going to do is follow this flower stalk all the way back to where it branches, and I'm just going to cut it off. Got a couple more down here. I'm just following them back to where they have a good branch and cutting them off there. Oak leaves are beautiful hydrangeas. They're a beautiful plant. They have great fall color. The thing you need to know about oak leaves though is they flower on old wood. So the new growth, this new growth from this year is where the new flowers are going to be for next year. So you don't want to cut those off or you won't have any flowers. So what you want to do is just go in after the flowering, cut them back some. I'm not cutting them back hard, I'm just getting rid of some of the flowers. Look for any damaged branches in there too, broken ones or dead ones, and get those out of there. It's a great time to do that. So that is the rundown on oak leaves. Our next stop is smooth hydrangeas, and we'll be right there. So here's our smooth hydrangea arborescens, and this one I think is Invincible. It's one of the Invincible series. It has kind of pinkish blooms. They're pretty much kind of done flowering. I still like to leave these flowers. I'm not going to cut the flowers off because they add interest. But what I do want to show you today is, like, there's some dead stuff in there, so we're just going to get rid of some of these dead stems right now. If there's any broken ones in here, so this one's broken from cedar, likes to lay back there, so we have a couple broken ones. We'll get rid of those. If I was, like in a few more weeks, these flowers are going to start looking pretty bad. So what I want to do then is just follow it back a little ways. I would probably cut it back some, and maybe back to here or so, and just cut it off, and you'll get it some new branching. But I do like to leave these old flowers as long as they look good. They're dried. There's not really a lot of color, but there's a lot of interest here. Here's a nice fresh one, you can see what they look like. Our next stop is right around the corner, and it's our last stop. Okay, our last stop is the Hydrangea paniculata. That's like the limelights. This particular one is called Firelight. They start off white typically, and this one is turning to this nice pinkish red color. Really pretty. So obviously I'm not going to take any flowers off of here. I usually leave that go till late in the year because they really hang on and look good all season long. This winter or next spring, we can prune it back because these are the easiest ones to grow, really. They do well in full to part sun, and they flower on new wood, so you don't have to worry about cutting any flower buds off. You can cut them back as hard as you want to, and they're still going to flower the next year. So like if it was fall and I want to cut it back, I might just cut it back so far to here, you know, just to shape it up nice. One thing about these that sometimes we have a little problem with is you can see some of the yellow leaves here. They do get some iron deficiencies because our pH is kind of high around here. What I've done in the past is I've used iron tone. It just adds it's a fertilizer to add some iron to the soil. This one was really yellow last year actually, and we put some of this around it and it was green, and I just noticed that I was getting some chlorosis in the leaves. So we'll get a little bit more iron. We'll just follow the directions here and scrape it into the ground a little bit, and it will definitely green up and look great. So that's kind of the lowdown on some of our common hydrangeas we grow around here. I hope it helps. If you got any questions, feel free to contact us. There's a lot of information out there on them, but the main thing is just to get out and enjoy your plants and enjoy the outdoors. We'll see you next time.